Recorded live in Balcatta, Western Australia, the Hoon capital of the world. This is Talkin' Power.
Gap is what happens when you hold to the floor and crush the man next to you. There's space in between your back bumper and your front bumper. We in the South we refer to it as the gap band.
Well, I think Formula One is for grown-ups.
Shut the grade on this one, Max. It's the guts.
When we start political song and rattles and players, we're gonna get down the chairs!
Yes, listen, please, 51 words.
Please, mate.
So, what about the sideways? You've got a race in your own lane. Now he's on the grass, he brings it back. That's a great driving there.
Torque and Power, your motoring and motorsport podcast.
All right, welcome to the Talk and Power podcast, episode 25, and I am with my co-host Simon Gonzo Travellini. I am Nick.
Mate, I'm partially recuperated.
Mm-hmm.
It was a massive 2 weeks for me.
It was.
I had transmissions and torque converters coming out of my arse because we had Racewars this weekend, Westernationals.
Yep.
Probably two of the most important motorsport events in Western Australia.
Yeah.
Short of Barbagallows. What are they calling it now? Supercars. They've
Supercars.
dropped the V8.
Yeah, dropped
the V8. Just out of curiosity, the current cars that are out there, any of them running the turbo V6?
Nope.
No.
Not one.
No. So we had a bit of a role reversal this weekend, Nick. Yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, you went to the drags.
I went to the drags,
Yeah.
yep, and you watched the V8 Supercars.
I watched the V8 Supercars. I'll tell you what, being that it's on Channel 10, I caught the AFLW, which was interesting because I never thought about it, but if they had called it the Women's AFL, it'd be the WAFL. But anyway, it's a whole nother thing. You can see the Eastern Staters don't like us.
No.
But anyway, so the thing is, when the AFLW first came out, there was a lot of fanfare, a lot of hype,
Yep.
Big coverage, big crowds. Right, so this was I thought it would have been a pretty big game because it was Collingwood
Yep.
and the Western Bulldogs.
Western Bulldogs, yep.
Right, and I kid you not, I've seen more people than that at a under fives football match. But anyway, nonetheless, it was shit to watch.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. At first, I thought, this is a good thing. So I'm thinking then rather than this turn into a disaster like AFLX or XAFL, let's sit down and do this properly, right? And I don't want to be one of those guys that's always bagging, things. I want to be someone that offers, some advice, give them a solution, How about mixed AFL?
I'm all for it.
Well, how many players have they got in a team now?
Oh, 22.
22. So
Yep.
11.
Yep.
Right? 11 women, 11, But listen, the reality is this. Like, we're talking about, this gender neutrality.
Yeah.
The most, out of all the sports out there, I don't care what anyone says, the most gender neutral, non-gender biased sports are motorsports. 100, because we throw the women in there with the guys. We don't discriminate, right? Number one. Number two, drag racing. Look at all the female champions that we've had. Bunny Burkett, right? Rochelle Splatt,
Yep.
right? Shirley Maldoni. Look at the current players now.
Yeah.
Alexa DeJoria, the Force girls.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So...
Well, Brittany Force is the reigning champion. Top fuel.
There you go. You see
Number
what I
one,
mean?
the number one tier of drag racing in the world, Top Fuel, Brittany Force is a champion.
Now you don't see the NHRA going, oh, you know what? We need an NHRAW. Do you?
That's right.
You know what I mean? And I think that we should cut this bullshit across all sports. Swimming, running, cricket, right? Throw them all in there.
With you, actually.
Mixed netball. Mixed netball's a big thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Mixed volleyball.
Yep. So, we'll get onto it in a minute, but the Westernationals as well, we had a few females dominating their particular brackets down there as well, so...
We did? No, I know we did. I'm only joking. Anyway, you covered. I stayed at home and watched that. You covered the Western Nats. Tell me what happened to the Western Nats.
Look, the Western Nationals, I think, let's be honest.
And I just want to say, sorry to interrupt you there. I just want to say, Saturday, I was sitting at home waiting for the phone calls.
Yeah.
You know, like, I need my gearbox fixed tonight. I only had one, and it turned out to be a very minor repair. It was tiny.
Okay.
Yeah. It was all over. We spent more time drinking bourbon after I finished fixing the box than I actually spent on the box. You know, so I had a rough idea what was happening. I was blown away. Two cars in particular that blew me away, because these guys were, you know, calling me during the course of the day, and that was Chris Wendt and John Ferguson. Chris Wendt, that was a new combo for this meeting. Only ran it on Wednesday, right, to go like 660. I think he went on the Sunday. That's a huge effort to those guys.
PB.
Yeah, there you go. And John Ferguson literally got that car going. I spent a day and a night flat out trying to repairing the transmission on it, and they literally got that going Wednesday morning. Went out, did a couple of shakedown laps, and mate, he went all the way to the finals.
Went
all the way to the final, and that was really the first meeting for that. I know he's had it out before, but they've put a new rear end in it. As I said, I went through the transmission for him, got that all sorted out, and you know, phenomenal effort. To me, those two cars and those two teams, and it was unfortunate they met in the semi-final, because had they have qualified a little bit differently, they probably would have ended up in the final. So fantastic effort to those guys. But anyway, tell me what happened, because on Sunday I tried to watch it, and live streaming, I should have called it dead streaming. So I don't know who's in charge of that.
Well, the people at OVO would be, but I thought...
OVO was no-go. Right? That's as simple as that. There was no OVO.
Look, the streaming on the Saturday night, took the streaming in Saturday night. It wasn't too bad. A couple of hiccups along the way. I had to reboot it a couple of times, but on the Sunday, obviously, I went there, so I didn't need to stream it.
No, mate, I couldn't stream anything.
Yeah.
It was like the sort of stream that you would get if you had a prostate problem.
Okay. That good, eh? Look, I think it goes... Let's call a spade. The standout performance in Pro Slammer was obviously Paul Moyet. It really was a flawless run through the whole week. Top qualified and went on to win the meet. What else can we say about him? In the final, we got the final that we wanted. Let's put it that way. Come up against John Zapier in the final in Pro Slammer. Zap, I think, in my personal opinion, looked like he had a 50 tune-up in it, or going for a 50, as we'd expect Zap to do, because they were running the string of 60s, the Moit's team, and I think he had a 50 in it, hit the bar, and that was really the end of it. The front came up, and he did that, I think, as well in the semi, but was lucky enough to get away with it, or it might have even been during qualifying. His second qualifier might have hit the bar as well. So I honestly think that Zap really took it up to him. But that car was just... Yeah, they had Billy Stockland working on it from the US.
I heard they had Tuttle as well.
Didn't see him there, but I wouldn't surprise me, because I didn't actually... Billy spent a lot of time in the transporter, in the office there, so I didn't see much out.
The rumour is, Nick, that they have spent somewhere between $4 and $5 million to, you know, up to this point on that deal. The guy that came and saw me today said that they had spent $750,000 US on engines. That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's great that they're spending it in our sport, but what it's done is it's turned it into a checkbook class, which is one of the things that was fantastic about Door Slammer as opposed to, you know, Pro Stock, for example, was that, you know, there was... I mean, Zap's car was just ingenuity. It's an Australian-built car. It's Australian body.
Yeah.
You know, he's developed it, everything on it, from the injector head to the I mean, right down to the rockers on the engine. He's pretty much hand-built. this is a different way of doing it. And Brian from Outlaw Performance and I were having a bit of a discussion about it. I have never looked at their car to see what they're running. The rumour is they run a converter drive that's got a lock-up clutch in it, and it's a 5-speed Liberty-style transmission. So what they've effectively done is narrowed right up the amount of the RPM curve that they're using. Now, I believe, I don't get any of the updates from the door slammer guys anymore since my Group 1 licence lapsed and I stopped racing door slammer, but I believe that they've got a self-imposed RPM limit of 10,500 now.
Yeah, okay.
So they're probably using the engine from 9,800 to 10.4, around that sort of area. Probably running a lot of compression, somewhere between 12.3, 12.7 to 1. The camshaft timing will be right on. They'll be looking at weather conditions and possibly even changing head gaskets and stuff, kind of like what they do in Top Alcohol in the US. Hence why they've run quicker than we have with a lot less overdrive. We're allowed 125 here. They only run like 92, I think, something like that. So I would imagine that they're using that kind of just narrow it right up and use that very peak of the power curve. Which, I mean, do the rule makers get involved now and say, hey, listen, this 5-speed deal, because apparently one of those transmissions is $55,000.
Yeah, okay.
This is what I've heard. Or do we just go, well, you know what, it's $1 million class anyway. Just is it going to mean that less people are going to compete? Is that what's going to happen over time?
If you look at the figures, just dwell on this, and I ask our listeners to dwell on this as well. The bump was a 586.
Yep.
But
which I'd like to say, Ryan,
yeah, that was
mate, what a massive effort.
Yeah, it's really
those
good.
guys have come so far this season. It's incredible. They deserve a big pat on the back, because they're not checkbook racers. Everything they've done on that car, they've done themselves on a very, very limited budget. I believe that engine's a Brad 6 style engine, so it's really nothing to write home about.
But yeah, so he's on the bump at 586, but the next step down was a reasonably significant step. We're talking, I think there was a 590 in there, then there was a whole lot of 6.0s. So we're talking, a tenth and a bit out of the top 8. So one would suggest that those cars, Marty, in saying that, Marty Dack, one of the unlucky guys not to qualify, rattled off a 580 on the Sunday night in the what you would call the exhibition or a grudge race later on.
Yep.
So he was probably there, but I think the step down or the pressure during qualifying is starting. These guys are really having to push their stuff to get into the field, and I don't know if the lower tier are up for that.
We had this when I was racing. Every round that I went to, there was 22 cars trying to qualify for 8 spots. We normally used to, get in around 10th, so miss out by a couple of spots. Now I saw the bump go into the 90s, but never into the 80s. But we had the same thing. You went from a 90, and then you might have had a couple of guys in the 6.0s, and then it was 6.1, down to 650 sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it means that you've got a lot of cars out there that probably aren't capable of ever qualifying. And I guess what ends up happening is people go, no, park it up, quit.
All right, so that was... Now, Top Bike was the one. I'm not really into bikes, as you know, but we were so tantalising close to a 5-second pass in Top Bike.
Was this Chris Matheson?
Chris Matheson buttoned off... really early. I reckon 1,000 foot, maybe even earlier, and we're in a 6.1. Jay Upton, I'm telling you now, it was well before 1,000 foot buttoned off in a grudge race later on in the evening, and ran a 6.2.
Yeah.
And he was out of it. I mean, really early.
Yeah, he said at the last meeting, what I heard from customers that were down there, that he's found it and he knows what he's got to do. And... I mean, Chris's deal, I don't know, I know you don't follow the bikes, but it is basically a turnkey Larry McBride, Spider-Man McBride, 5-second combo. So it could run a 5 whenever he chooses to, I guess. Whereas Jay's, this is kind of like the Moitz versus the Zapier deal.
Yeah.
Jay's deal is all hand-built, one of and it's all Jay's deal. Whereas Chris just bought a Larry McBride, combo. Obviously, you need to tune it, but I don't know if Chris has got someone tuning it. Obviously, the Moitz guys have got half of the US Pro Mod crew chief and drivers over here.
It was nice to see those guys here, by the way. I'm going to throw something out there. I want your thoughts on this one. Have a think about this. Did the live streaming affect the crowd? Because they didn't lock out the live streaming locally in Perth, which is, they do have the technology to do that. If you have a VPN, you can bypass that. But anyway, I won't get into that. But
what I've heard, Nick, from racers in particular, racers that are passionate about the sport, racers that love the sport. Oh, look, Gons, you had the Ed Sheeran concert, you had Racewars. It was a long weekend. A lot of people went away. All I've got to say to all those people is, I was there. We have video evidence of this, right? The night Kapiris went 6-0, first 6-0.
Yeah, 2001, I think it is.
Right? You couldn't even stand in that joint. There was that many people.
That's right. Yeah.
The last time we had, and I know this is going to piss a lot of people off, but I'm going to say it. I'm going to call it how it is. The last time we had a big crowd there, outside of the gorilla shows, the Zooax, right? Outside of the Zooax, the last time we had a big crowd is when Mal Bully was the head of Andra, and they used the Andra truck to go around to shopping centres around Perth and promote the event. And that was a bumper crowd.
I don't think there's anything wrong with what you said. I agree with that entirely.
Oh, mate, I've listened to so much bullshit from people, putting him down. Now, these guys have told all the racers, we got 7, mate. We got this, we got that. Big deal. About 10 people went to the Collingwood Western Bulldogs AFLW game, and they had primetime 7, mate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, that's a good job, fellas. You got 7, mate. You got a sponsor yet? So that the tracks don't have to pay $60,000, $70,000 to you guys for nothing. You know what I mean? Like, we really need, if the sport is going to survive, we really need to have to think about this now. With what's happened with the CEO his position being dissolved at Andra, well, who's running it now? It's sad that I'm saying this because I'm pro Andra, right? Because the races own Andra. But the reality is that if you haven't got a leader, how can you have leadership?
Yeah,
you need to have someone that's steering the boat. And the last bloke that gave it a good nudge was Bully.
Yeah.
And I reckon he did a fantastic job. And I've heard all the rubbish and discrediting him, etc., and I just think it's sad because I saw, I went to the country tracks. I saw what was going on behind the scenes, and what he did was, fantastic. And the people that just saw what was going on at the Motorplex and what they were shown, the bits of paper they were shown, the arguments that they were told about, right? Well, they've got a skewed perspective on what actually happened, So I don't know what's going to happen. I think that the writing's on the wall. You got the leaded fuel deal coming into play. That's a big one, right? And I don't think it's I think it's interesting, and it'll be one of these watch this space deals. But before you could buy all of that, see this and see that, and oxygenated and bloody blah blah blah, $2 million a litre fuel. Well, guess what? The boys were all running methanol. George Bailey, all those guys that had mechanically injected methanol. Stampelia, the guys that were fast in Superstock, they all ran methanol. So maybe it's Andrew's time to stand up and go, hey, what we're going to do? We're going to allow these fuels, and that's it. And you guys deal with it. You know what I mean? Because it's not going to affect Door Slammer. It's not going to affect Top Alcohol. It's going to affect Pro Stock. It's going to have a massive effect on Pro Stock. Maybe Pro Stock needs to have a look at their position, their rules. It's going to affect some super stock cars. Obviously the turbo methanol burners aren't going to be affected. The NA guys, it's going to have an effect. But you know what it'll do? It'll make us start to build our own stuff again, develop our own stuff, because we won't be able to just checkbook race. So, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see. If we got to do something with the sport, we need to do something. It's very big in Adelaide, and the amount of people from South Australia and from Darwin that were at the Motorplex spectating and also racing, you know, you look at that, and there's two ways of looking at it. One way is, wow, that was great that all these people came in from other states, right? Fantastic. The other way to look at it is, well, how bad would the numbers have been if they hadn't have come?
That's the way I've been looking at it.
You know what I mean?
I agree with you. There was a lot of Eastern States races, and without those guys, it would have been a pretty ordinary Western Nationals. Anyway, moving along, competition eliminator. You've had a lot to do with these guys, Liz and Rick Johns and Ralph Lewis. You crewed with them some time ago when they were racing their Mustang.
Yep.
They had Ralph's motor in, obviously, Rick's and Liz's altered, so they had the win in competition eliminator.
Yeah, well-deserved win too. Those guys are, you know, they're budget racers at the end of the day, and they really race with their heart and soul.
Yeah, good people,
Yeah.
Rick and Liz. And Ralph.
Who were they in the final with?
Shane Moresby. It was
Yeah,
it was a bit of a fizz of the final. Unfortunately, Shane could only stage the car, and that was it. So I'm not quite sure what happened to his car, but he wasn't able to get it down the track.
Still huge for that team. You know, like both those cars. Been a lot of finals this season.
Yeah. Super stock. I'm going to say it. I spoke with a friend of ours who's a super stock racer. Wasn't the racing, but I was really disappointed with super stock. Felt that the protection of indexes was at an all-time high, and I felt there was only a couple of guys really having a crack, and that was these two that made it to the final. Jimmy Anides and Jamie Chasey. Jim went on to win against Jamie, but the protection of indexing was at an all-time high.
See, Jim doesn't really... See, this is a very contentious point, right? Because Jim normally doesn't run C. He runs B, right? Now, for him to run C, he has to run more than the Andra limit in ballast, because the Andra limit is 200 pounds. So I'm led to believe that he has doors with electric windows and so on and so forth. And this is kind of, you know, it makes it... It gives Jim the ability to go and destroy the class, right? And not have a long-term effect on him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he doesn't normally run it. So if he destroys the index, when he drops back into B, right, and puts his other doors or whatever it is, however he makes the weight up, he walks away scot-free because he's back to a relatively soft index. Now, it's interesting because I feel that that's not really in the spirit.
It's not.
You know. But, hey, listen, credit where credit's due. At the end of the day, it's legal for the class. It's, you know, weighs 10.35 pounds per cubic inch. It runs a flat tapper. It runs the iron heads. And the thing's got to be making some ridiculous horsepower for basically a 308. That's all it is, a flat tapper cam 308.
I think it was 310 cubes, his combo.
Yeah, so it's probably 30 thou over or something, 308. Bit of controversy there. I'm sure I'm going to cop it. I'm sure that there's going to be a post.
The letters will be flying in this week.
They will.
Be flying in. Anyway. I'm sidetracked now. Supercharged Outlaws. Listen to this. David Smith. I've never heard of David Smith before. Rookie. It's his first meet. He's licensed, I think, at the previous meet. Funny car. Has a win against John Ferguson. Goes all the way in the final.
Two relatively new. I mean, John's raced with the funny car a while back, but top effort. Yeah. I mean, and Chris as well. Like I said, huge effort.
Yeah, top sportsman went to Chris Theo, a win against Albie Bakranich as well in top sportsman. That was not a bad class. I enjoyed the top sportsman. I think that's good.
You know what I didn't get? Like, not being there, I didn't see it, but a lot of cars from qualifying disappeared before Sunday. Was there breakages or?
Not that I'm aware of, no. But
well, there was about 4 or 5 cars
out of top sportsman.
Yeah,
okay.
Because there was a lot of buys. Oh yeah, the interesting thing too, with I think I touched on it before with Supercharged Outlaws, is that Dave got a solo into the final, and Chris went and John met each other in the semi-final.
Yeah.
So had qualifying panned out the other way, we could have seen maybe Chris and John in the final. Nonetheless, great result.
Yeah.
And excellent numbers throughout all around.
Modified, we had Matt Cernsey. Now, forgive me for saying his surname wrong. I'm sure I have. Matt from engineroom.cjb.net from years ago. He was part of the Cackling Pipes team. I don't know if you remember those guys.
Yeah,
Grant
I do.
Stevens,
Yeah,
Matt.
yeah.
Yeah, so he made it to. He had a win against Mark Grieve in the modified final. And Super Sedan, Marty Mirko for the win against George Tipokudis. Sorry if I've said your name wrong, George. So Marty, my arch enemy outside of...
Oh, yes, of course. The Mirko brothers, yeah.
It's not my arch enemy.
Yeah.
He's a nice guy. But
Yeah, he is. He's a top bloke.
he's a great guy, but we work for opposition. So, yeah, he ran... I've got the numbers here. His win was incredible, actually. Probably the best run in Dial Your Own. Listen to this. Dialed a 917. Ran a 917 with a 2. Had a reaction time. Wait for it. 0.013.
Oh, wow. That's a heck of a package.
You can't beat that. You
That's
really
a
can't.
near perfect package. That's incredible. That was in Super Sedan, yeah?
That's in Super Sedan, so it was very difficult to beat. Very difficult to beat. So well done to Marty. And in Super Street, our friend SCM, all the guys at SCM, their daughter-in-law, Matt's wife, Stephanie Galotto, took the win in that street-going VNSS. I saw her in the semi run a 10.08 on a 10.08.
Yeah.
Really stout.
Mate, that's so Steph took it out.
Yeah, won the final.
That's
in
huge.
Super Street.
Huge. Incredible to see how many Eastern Staters were in the finals. That's huge effort for those guys. I mean, they came over here. This is kind of like how Western Australia used to go to Calder Park, or we used to go there to try and take their silverware back.
Yeah.
So it sounds like they had the same same sort of intention.
Yeah. So anyway, look, it was a great weekend. The Sunday was good. It was very enjoyable.
So the final run, right? Zap against Moitz, Paul Mahoyat, right? Was it one of those everyone standing on their feet, Peter Kapiris 6-0 type atmosphere runs?
No, not really.
No.
The atmosphere was good, but everyone didn't come to their feet at the end. No, not with it. I probably wear my John Zapier heart on my sleeve too much. I was really disappointed for Zap, because
look,
there was a lot of people in the crowd that were going for the Boits there, and Paul. And I don't want to take anything away from Paul. Great guy, signed a poster for my son. Really nice guy. But I was really disappointed. I was really, I couldn't hide my... Yeah, I was disappointed.
I guess, he is the underdog. For so many years, for the last 10 seasons, he hasn't had the big budgets, etc., as the other teams, but he was the one to beat. He really is the underdog now. And, I mean, if it's going to be pretty hard for him to... win the championship from here. I don't know if you've done the maths on this or not. But
no, I haven't yet.
I haven't, and I'm not going to say what the outcome needs to be for Zap to win championship 11. But it's George. George always rings at the most inappropriate times. It's pretty normal for him.
He'll be listening as well. George, we're doing a podcast, mate.
We're on the middle of... Anyway, so... he has won 10 in a row, man.
Yeah, he has.
And I think, if anything, like I said, we're talking about you got to narrow that RPM window up now. These guys have said this is how you do it. You got to have that car leave with no attitude like a pro stock car. So, if he comes out of the other side of this and he's going to go for the next championship, if the sponsors are still there and his heart's still in it, he's going to do the same thing. He's going to narrow it up. He's going to get the car leaving better, leaving flatter. And, he'll set the next benchmark, Nick. It'll be a 550. You know what I mean? It's that close. I think it's there. So, he's done a huge effort. And, I mean, at the end of the day, all right, look at the since the beginning of Door Slammer to now, right? Victor's won 6. Right, they weren't on the trot, okay? We've had a lot of the other teams come along and win, one here, one there, etc. Right? What these guys are doing is fantastic, but at the end of the day, are they gonna be able to sustain this for 10 championships and beat Zap's record? Is anyone going to be able to do 10 in a row?
We spoke about this in another podcast, and our view was no. Well, my view is
well,
no.
I mean, we'll have to wait and see. It'll be interesting to watch. I mean, that's going to end up costing them $50-60 million, but the rate they're going. But there'll be a lot of happy engine builders, a lot of happy crew chiefs.
Yeah.
I might even be able to get a job for a couple of $100,000 sweeping the floor or something in their pit.
I actually saw Stevie Fast.
You might be able to get a job doing their media.
That sounds pretty cool. Paul, if you're listening. If it was actually interesting, Monday morning, Stevie Fast put a post on Facebook. They're getting ready for Gainesville, and he tagged in Billy Stockland and Mark Savage. And I just happened to put a comment below saying, "No, your boys are down here in WA. They're having way too much fun. You better get your stuff down here." He replied back about a minute later and said, "Boys are having the best time in Australia. I can't wait to get down there one day." And, the guys have said a lot of good things about Australia. So, there you go. So, maybe there is hope that, we can get Stevie Fast down here as well.
Well, he'd come down here with a 1471 and whip everyone's ass. Screwball? I don't need a screwball. Heck, throw another 50 pounds in my car. He'd do it on radials, Nick. Come down here on a 315 radial.
So it was really nice to actually have the North Americans here. We've said Mark Savage, Billy Stockland, but also Frankie Taylor was here as well, driving Victor's cars.
Well, that's a regular gig now.
Made it to the semis too, Frankie.
Yeah. I'm still
Frankie.
trying to work out how they came to, because obviously he normally runs the PDRA, which is C rotor, 127 over, very light cars, 2-speed. But I think that the Braves must have sat there going through the phone book going, who races a fast Corvette? Oh, this guy, Frank Taylor, yeah. Let's get him. He should be able to set our car up. I think that's how it would have gone down. But good to see all those guys running 70. I mean, it's huge how much they have, picked up in ET in such a short space of time. I mean, I made the comment the other day that I don't think it's really progressed that far, because if you think about it, we had Kapiris running in the 70s and we had Juddy running in the 70s, but I think the Moitz team has really taken it, up a good solid notch, like a big notch.
Well, they're running 60s all day, every day, those guys. So, anyway.
That's right. Incredible.
All right, we should move on to the other big show that was on the weekend. That was Racewars. Now, this is I was really happy to see the results of Racewars, let it be said.
Did you know, right, this is an interesting point, that they were driving into a 35-kilometre-an-hour headwind?
Really?
Yep.
No, I didn't know that.
Yep.
No.
Yep. So I asked the question today, why didn't they turn the track around? And apparently they decided not to because they didn't want the Eastern Staters whinging that they had a tailwind.
All right, okay.
I'm serious. This is what I got told today.
Yeah.
That makes Eddie's win all the more incredible. The speed that he ran. So, on the lead up, obviously we had the podcast with Jamie, right? And there was a lot of talk about the 25,000 horsepower billet Lamborghini and this and that and the other. But at the end of the day, right, number one spot. With a speed of, where are we here?
First page.
It goes on for a while. 334.93 kilometres an hour. Eddie Tassoni in the rear-wheel drive, Australian-built HSV GDO Monaro.
Yeah.
Right, an Italian driving a Monaro, taking it out. Right, so. I'm not interested in your GDRs and your Lambos and your Audis and your McLarens and all your Euro trash.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, I just want to touch on it. We mentioned on that podcast your friend Simon Niesby. I don't know if that's how you say his name. 314 out of his AU. That was a pretty stout effort.
I know, but it's got an LS in it.
Yeah.
So we're going to skip the four-wheel drive and Japanese and European cars, right? so let's go through this. Eddie number 1, 334.93, right? Then we go to Dave Christie, right? 2001 Holden Commodore, 314.96. Simon, 314.07 in his 2008 AU Falcon. Now he's got a name for this car. It's called
I can't remember.
Famous.
Yeah, famous. That's right.
Famous, right? Then we got Ken Christie, which is Dave's dad. Dave Christie's dad. 311.38. Move on to Josh Herridge, right? Now, this is killer. 310.48 from a Ford 6 in an FG.
Yeah,
that's just unbelievable.
Now that's out of Monster Talk.
Yeah, Monster Talk.
Sponsors.
Yeah,
That's
and just so you got out of the top. I forget. I had a look at this today. So Dave Christie, Ken Christie, Simon, they're all out of the same workshop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Dave has got his own setup. He tunes on the side. Yeah, so they're all out of the same workshop. And I believe there was more. But yeah, for me, definitely Josh's car, 310 from a Ford 6 in an FG. That's pretty stout.
It is. Yeah.
And Eddie's obviously 330.
Yep.
And also the other one was Roger. That's right. Roger's out of the same workshop. 294 out of that Camaro.
Oh, okay.
Right. That Camaro. You know which one that is? The Bumblebee one.
Yeah, okay.
Right? That's an all-rounder. It gets dragged. It gets driven on the street every day. It's his daily drive.
Yeah.
So, it was... I mean, mate, the Racewars and the Westernationals were huge for me because out of the top 10, right, 5 of them were my customers.
Yeah.
And the other 5 were manual. So the Westernationals, just let me grab this list. So we got Ralph, John Ferguson, Albie Bakranich, Marty Mirko, and Steph Galotto. I had nearly a customer in every class.
You did too. There you go.
So, but look, huge event for WA. I'm sad that they both have to be on the same weekend. I'm hoping that the guys can sort that out in the near future.
Yeah.
And I would love to be involved in this one, Nick. I would love to, if it doesn't clash with any other events, and if my wife lets me go, I would like to put something together. Now, I want to talk about not the last car, but the second last car. The Falcon unsafety car, right? Now, I just want to check my notes here. I'm pretty sure. Where are we here? Where are we?
I haven't seen any numbers.
Oh, Nick, you're not looking hard enough. So the AU unsafety car managed 98th out of 99 spots. With a massive speed of 166.2 kilometres an hour, spraying the track with the innards of its engine at the same time. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I think we may have gone faster than that with the Camry.
We did,
over the quarter.
Yeah, we did. You did.
So, does that mean we've won this one?
No, we never. I don't want to call it. I don't want to say that, but poor Falcon literally blew up. They were picking up parts off the track.
I heard that a complete conrod and piston came out the side of the engine.
Yeah, he was literally holding piston in his hands, Jamie. But anyway, look, they gave it a crack. You can't knock someone for having a go.
All right. So the other big event, as we mentioned,
Adelaide 500.
Adelaide 500.
Yeah,
yes. Now I didn't watch. I didn't watch Saturday. I don't know why I didn't watch Saturday. I probably couldn't be bothered, but
well, we were busy working on something, weren't we? Can we say?
What was that work? Yes, you were with me. That's right. That's why we didn't watch it. There you go. We were working on our project. But what I am going to say is, I think that the management of the supercars with this 2 race deal, that's bullshit. You know what I mean? Like, why don't they just have qualifying on the one day and then the race on the other day? Because it doesn't make any sense to me to have two races. I mean, what happens if you destroy your car? You can't show up on the next race. You know, I don't know. Anyway, I suppose you could destroy your car in qualifying too.
Yeah.
But anyway, I did watch Sunday's race. I watched it in its entirety.
Yeah, look, I saw most of Sunday's race before I had to leave to go to the drags. I saw a good portion of it on the Sunday. Look, it's the same old story. I'm not going to say it yet, but it looks like the ZB, not the Fairlane either, but the ZB.
Yeah, what? Have you noticed that Holden has had this thing about using the names of other old Australian cars? Like, let me take you back to 1979, well, actually 1980, when the VC first came out. I was in school, like high school or something. Was it in high school? Anyway, whatever it was. And I remember how ridiculous. They've named it after a Valiant, you know? And we were all waiting for the VD to come out, which never did. It never came out, the VD, right?
No VD.
So you know, then was like, oh, they're going to do a VF and a VG. Well, they didn't then, but they did. That was the last one they made.
Yeah, the last one was a VF.
VF.
VE and VF.
VE and VF, I know. It's ridiculous. Now they've decided, well, you know, it's time to attack Ford, you know, because I guess they figured, well, no one's making a Valiant anymore, so we can use their names. Let's steal Ford's names now. There's no Fords made in Australia and no Fairlanes. Fairlanes have been gone for years. But the thing that struck me about that car, sorry to cut you off there. When I saw it first come out, you know, the race starts and there's this thing all done up in the Red Bull colours and that. I'm going, what, a Mazda 6?
Yeah.
When did they start racing a Mazda 6?
I think a lot of the feedback has been it's similarities to a Mazda 6.
I always thought there was an affiliation between Ford and Mazda.
No, it'll be interesting to see what. Already there's been talk that the aero's not quite even on the two cars.
The thing's got a bloody hatchback.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what what they do over at V8 Supercars, if they make some amendments to that. Don't know. Watch this space.
Oh, Red Bull's winning. They'll leave it.
Yeah, look. I think kind of off the
It looks smaller too.
Yeah.
It looks a hell of a lot smaller. It looks like a Mazda 6. I thought it was a Mazda 6. I'll tell you, that is the first. I knew there was a new Commodore coming out, but that's the first that I saw of it.
Yeah.
You know, so I got to watch the Super Utes, right? And once again, we're always getting criticised because we take the piss out of stuff and we don't offer any positive points or you know, solutions to the problems, right? So I've got something. You know, there's a new CEO, so I'm hoping that he's open to new ideas, right? So Sean
Seema.
Anyway, so what I reckon they need to do with these Super Utes, right, is, you know, because those vehicles are more akin to being seen on a job site than a racetrack, and they look ridiculous going around the track. They make this like it really was it was like watching Bullet, right? Like on those polyglazed tyres. They come around the corner and they go. They look like they're going to kind of fall over, or anyway. And then when you see him go down the straight, you're going, what is he got? That's it. That's all he's got.
It was terrible. It was absolutely terrible.
So what I'm going to suggest is, right, because these are tradies utes, they're not. There's nothing fast about them. They should never be associated with going fast at all, right? What they should do is every lap they should get them to pull into the pits, right? The drivers should get out, and they should do a tradie's job.
Oh yeah,
right. So you could have like a series. So let's say it's a 5-lap race. You could have 5 jobs that they need to do. Don't laugh. I'm being serious, right?
I'm with you.
So they pull in, right, and you can do it in whatever order you want. So it could be to, you know, lay a brick or a brick wall, right? Lay some bricks. You know, mix the mortar up, bang, you know, make sure, and then they could be judged on how straight the wall is, etc. You could lose points and stuff. You could, you know, maybe change a light bulb, you know, for the sparkies out there, or wire a light socket, wire a switch, perhaps. Maybe change some washers on the taps for all the plumbers out there. It would be like doing a pass in, like one of those Reliants, which thankfully three-wheeled vehicles are not allowed in competition. But you know what I mean? One of the most painful. So Sean, mate, have a think about it, because I think you could make this work. Because then the tradies, which are the people that buy those vehicles normally, they'll go, oh, this is cool, you know.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, when they come to Barbagallows, because I'm assuming the Superutes are going to come with them.
I didn't look at the calendar if they're coming to the Barbagallo.
I know they're running the other ones, the trophy
the
trucks.
stadium trucks are definitely coming back, yes.
Yeah. Well, look, I'm hoping that they're going to come, because I want to see what the quickest lap that a Superute does at Barbagallows, right? And then what I want to do, right, and I'm going to need some help from some of our listeners. I know that there's a few people that are members of the West Australian Sporting Car Club, so if you can, have a chat to the boys there, see whether we can put this together or not. I want to buy another Camry, dead standard, on road tyres, and take it around Barbagallows and see if we can run a quicker lap than the Superutes.
You would. I don't even think that's a challenge.
I think we need to show people just how ridiculous this class is. I mean, a turbo diesel, right? Tradies ute racing, like of all the cars, you could have got Hyundais. You could have got anything. So you go to the races, you got the Porsche Cup, the supercars, and tradies utes.
Yeah, no, I'm with you 100% on that. Maybe a fishing challenge as well. They can do the drop a line as well. The little pond there with some koi in there.
Well, that could be if they have a tie at the end. That could be the tiebreaker.
Because that's what they do, most of these tradies. They go fishing on the weekend.
Fishing, but they're the four-wheel driver. You wouldn't take a two-wheel drive Hilux fishing. You'd bury it.
Yeah.
You'd bury it. Nah, this is more, We're nowhere near an airport. Where did that come from?
Occasionally we get the one over.
The other thing we could look at doing is possibly getting some roof racks, right, and offering our Camry to a tradie.
Oh, yeah.
And seeing if, what they think of the Camry as a tradie's vehicle.
Can perform his tasks a lot quicker in our Camry.
We could do a video on that, Nick. We could,
That'd actually be pretty cool,
Put some roof racks on it. We'll compare it. We'll compare the Hilux. We'll do a shootout between the Hilux and the Camry. We're not going to offend anyone. Toyota's going to win either way.
Yeah, they're laughing, aren't they? Put an annex on it as well for camping on the weekends. It's just down really low.
we could do something. Remember Farm Truck? They built that Speedway car or whatever it was.
The Firebird. The
Firebird.
Yeah.
What do they call it? The fire truck?
Yeah, something like that.
No, the Yard Bird or something.
Yeah.
The Farm Bird.
Farm Bird, yeah. Oh, God.
Anyway, so let me get to where I need to be on my notes here. So the main event, right? As you already know, Shane Van, how do you pronounce this? Gisberger? Is that how you pronounce it?
Shane Van Gisbergen.
Oh, that's it. He took the win. Dave Reynolds was second, and your mate Gartander came in third. But the race could have ended completely different. In the early laps, Scotty McLaughlin picked up a bolt, I believe.
Yeah.
Now, there was a section which didn't make any sense to me on the track. I think it was turn 7 or something, where they had to launch the cars over a speed hump. What was that all about? Is that deliberate?
Well, no, they're only supposed to put 2 tyres over the speed hump, not all 4. And anyone that went over with all 4 was pinged.
Yeah, okay. So this is an interesting point that you make. Now, I wrote some
Winterbottom.
some notes. Yeah. So the quote of the event was from Tim, Mark Winterbottom's crew chief. His comment, that was bullshit. As far as I'm concerned, that was a standout comment for the event, right? So basically he got a drive-through penalty, right, for overzealous use of the curb or something like that. Now, I did a bit of research into this, right? So they have a transponder, right, that kind of tells them where the car is relative to the curb. Now, I haven't been able to find out 100% whether there is a definitive position that the transponder must be mounted in or under the car, right? Because obviously, if you're going over it with the left-hand side of the car and you've got it mounted on the right-hand side of the car, well, the chances are it's not going to pick it up. The next thing was that I found very, very interesting is that the transponder, and you would think in 2018 the technology would be a bit better, because, I mean, I can Bluetooth from, you know, a fair distance away from whatever I'm Bluetoothing to. So you would imagine a transponder would have a bit of distance, but they reckon if you hit the curb hard enough and get enough air, the transponder doesn't give a signal. It can't reach that far.
Yeah.
So, if you watched it, as I did, and I watched that race for its entirety, from the start to the finish, right? I didn't think that he was smacking the curb, and everyone's going to say, oh, you're a forward guy, you know, you're going to be on Frosty's side. But I really didn't think that he was smacking that curb as hard as the two guys in front. I think he was actually being a little bit reserved.
Yeah.
But he copped the drive-through penalty. And that changed the outcome of the race, because he went from a possible podium finish, right? Like, you know, in the closing stages, the front runners were starting to get a little bit loose. They're starting to lose rear traction, whether that was because they were on a low fuel load or their tyres were going off. I don't know. But Frosty seemed to have it a bit more controlled. You know, so at the end of the day, he went from 4th to 12th, and from 12th position, he wasn't going to come back. No. But it was a good run, the three guys at the front. The other standout... from that race was the overtaking manoeuvre between Shane Van Gisbergen. Shane Van
Gisbergen.
Yeah, that's it. What he said, and Dave Reynolds. Dave Reynolds came out of the pits in front of Shane, right, and had the lead, and he got to, I forget which turn it was. Turn 9. And, you know, look, there was a lot of banter. I think you've got some...
Yeah, let's have a listen to Davey Reynolds here.
Davey, were you a little bit soft in your defence down at turn 9?
Maybe a little bit, but, you know, cold tyres. I thought I broke at my normal point, maybe a fraction earlier. He just did a good job. Got probably a little bit of run on me through 8. He's generally, after he got in front of me, he's quite fast through 8. There's not much I could do about it, unfortunately. I just, you know, if I jumped in my little time machine and went back to that corner, you know, I would have blocked for sure. But, you know, it's just a lesson I've got to learn.
What runs through your mind in those closing laps? How do you stay, you know, in peak mental condition for those closing laps?
Yeah, good question. We were just speaking about it before. Like, it was actually hard to keep concentration. You're thinking about, you know, what am I having for dinner? It's 8 o'clock flight, maybe I can get the earlier one. Just weird through your brain. It's kind of hard to comprehend. You really need to, like, you know, take a breath every lap and go, I need to just focus on the next corner, focus on the next corner, focus on the next corner.
Someone probably needs to remind Davey that he was in Adelaide. I think the airport shuts at 5:30.
These guys get paid hundreds of thousands, probably millions of dollars, and you know that's why you got overtaken, buddy. You went wide, all right? You went wide, and you let Gisberger, or however you say his name, overtake you. As simple as that. And you know what, right? He's lucky. He's lucky that Tander didn't get through as well. You know, I think Tander did the sporting thing and let him sort of, you know, he went wide. Like cold tyres, like, man, he went wide. I don't know where he was, which apex he was aiming for, but you know, I don't know.
What goes through their head? Like, was he thinking, did I leave the iron on? What should I have for dinner tonight? I was amazed by those comments.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan. I'm a big Davey fan, but it probably doesn't sound like it. But I am. I'm big raps on Davey.
I think that if there was a time machine, he'd be going back and thinking about the interview.
Yeah, that too. Definitely that too. I mean, you couldn't disguise Betty Klimenko's disappointment as well. He ran wide, Van Gisbergen.
Oh yeah,
the camera shot straight to her.
Yeah, the lip reading was pretty. We can't repeat.
It wouldn't have been comfortable there afterwards.
And he copped it from Scaife.
Oh,
he copped it from Scaife.
Yeah.
Anyway, listen. Enough about poor old Davey. I'm sure that he won't make that mistake again.
No.
And you know what? I mean, I've got to say that his crew chief, right? He handled it the best out of everyone, because he was like, oh, you know, he's maturing, and you know, he did the right thing, and you know, we're here for the championship. not for the win on the day. We're here for the long haul, you know. And he copped it from everyone, but he kept his composure. He was very cool about it.
He was.
Scotty McLaughlin, right? It was a bit sad. He had the boss over.
Roger
Penske was there, right? Which was pretty cool. I mean, anytime you see that guy at a race, that's pretty awesome. I would love to get his autograph. That is like, out of everyone that was there, that event, he is the man that I would want.
Well, Roger generally comes to the WA round as well.
Maybe I should make an effort to get there, because that guy is, you know, him and Roush are two guys that I...
Jack Roush. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And so what's the deal with Andretti? Is Andretti bought into...
Yeah, Ryan Wilkinshaw's.
Yeah, rightio.
Under Unite.
Ryan looks a bit rough, doesn't he?
Yeah, he did, yeah. So does Michael a bit, you know, a bit of that long hair happening now and a bit of grey coming through, Michael.
Oh, not so much that. Like, you know, what are the days gone where you would stand up and be clean-shaven and be wearing a suit and, you know, now you can go dressed as a bum. I got lots of money. What are you going to do about it, you know? So, anyway, good on him. It was good to see him there. He took the cup.
Yep, Zach Brown's part of that team as well. Zach Brown from the McLaren Formula One team.
Oh, rightio. Jesus. They've got everyone there.
Yeah, he wasn't here in town, but he was part of that team.
So that's like the Moits racing of the V8 V8 supercars. I've got to stop saying V8 because they're not going to be V8. Anyway, so Scotty McLaughlin, right? Nick, I've got to tell you, I've noticed that he's trying to look like Craig Lowndes, right?
I see that.
Especially with those Boris the Animal eyebrows, right? So, mate, do yourself a favour, right? Don't stylise yourself after Lowndesy, okay? Really, Lowndesy, it's time for you to hang up the boots, go get a commentary job. That would be good because hopefully they get rid of Scafie because he's a right? and it'd be good because I think that Lowndesy would give a more balanced approach.
Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Rather than the one-eyed approach that, you know, like I didn't hear him say anything about Winterbottom. Yeah. It was like the incident didn't happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I'm hearing you there. Look, how long do you think Lowndesy? He's a year older than me, so I'm 43 this year. He'll be 44. So, you know, he's getting on, isn't he, Lowndesy?
Yeah, but I don't know. When did Dick Johnson stop driving?
Well, he was in his 50s. Yeah. I think he was 50.
Yeah, so that's the problem with the sport now and why you haven't got those guys that are self-funded and in there for the long haul. Because at the end of the day, you know, all these drivers that are out there that have got big heads and think they're heroes because, you know, their job is to drive a supercar. The reality is their career is going to be short. Yeah. Lowndesy has been lucky and Tand has been lucky. But the reality is if you don't win races or if you say something stupid or get into a punch-on or whatever, you're out, mate. Yeah. And chances are you're not coming back in. So, you know, if you got a rich daddy, I guess, then you probably will get a drive. But, you know, whether you're going to actually accomplish anything is entirely different. So
I think the number will be up for a lot of drivers this year, to be honest. I think at the end of 2018 you'll see a few of them go. I think a lot of them are on their last legs.
You know, Nick, I'm watching it more, right? But I really think that they need a big shake up there.
Yeah.
And me personally, what I would be doing if I was the CEO of the supercars, I'd be looking at the British touring car formula, right? And I'd introduce that as a class now, right? And with the long-term plan of replacing the supercars with the British touring car deal, because that's great to watch. Like really, really, you know, you're at the edge of your seat through the whole race. The secret to making circuit racing exciting is to have cars that are different, that can attack different parts of the circuit at different paces. So they might all run a minute 16 for the lap, but this type of car will be fast in this section of the track, and this type will be fast in this section of the track. And that makes for overtaking, which is what we want to watch. We don't want to watch follow the leader, because it's shit. It's just boring, right? And that's where the British Touring Car Championship is just unbelievable. I can't believe how many lead changes they have in a race. Like, they'll be fighting it out to within 10 centimetres of the finish line, you know? So that's what I think they should do. And if there was a category that you want to get rid of, it's the Superutes. It's a waste of time. And then if you did manage to get the British touring car formula working over here, right? Because we're going to see, I'm telling you now, whether you want to believe it or not, Ford and Holden, unless they do something fantastic over the next few years, they're going to be like the joke cars. You know, you got a Holden. You know what I mean? That's what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
Because there's, you know, before it was like, listen to that V8, you know? But now, yeah. So I think we're going to see more Mercs, more BMWs. I'm already starting to see it. Like, you know, now to see an E46 slammed with tints and, you know, some 10-inch rims on it, it's common. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's the direction that we're going to, you know, see. Even you go down on Wednesday night, you're seeing more like, you know, like non-traditional type cars. Yeah, there's Evos and stuff like that as well, the Jap market. But performance-wise, it's going to be the Mercs and the Beamers, the Audis, you know. So I think that we've got to look at it. We've got to look at it as a viable option. And if we did manage to get it off the ground, how cool would it be? We could get those guys over in their off-season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You could even have cars here that the drivers just come over. You know? And then you can get the Marks, the Audi, BMW, Mercedes involved in it. You know, watch a couple of M Sports cars going around. I mean, it worked before. We were touring car junkies when it was the BMW Johnny Play Special team, the Mazda. I can't even remember who's
Peter Stuyvesant was Alan Moffat's deal.
Yeah, Alan Moffat's deal, the RX-7.
The Smokes, Peter.
They were all Smokes back in those days.
Yeah.
So, but it was fun to watch because you know, some of them be fast in the corners, and then others would be fast in the straights. You know.
Yeah.
So I think it's something for them to think about anyway. But all in all, what was apparent was, you know, that Adelaide event is still a big event. I still don't get what that curb's for. Why don't they just get rid of the curb?
No, I have no idea.
Isn't it stupid to have a curb like a speed hump? Was it meant to slow them down, or you know, then we'll penalise you? Anyway,
they move on to the Melbourne Grand Prix, the V8 Supercars, for the opening of the Formula One as well. So that'll be March 23 and 24.
It's Melbourne, yeah.
So that's a round of the
and that's a points round now.
Yeah, it is. Yes, that's correct. Yep. So now it would appear as though I've spoken with the track, as you know.
Yeah, that's why you got a media pass, isn't it? Because you spoke to the track.
Yeah, that worked out well for me. Thanks, guys. The Street Outlaws meet has been cancelled.
Yes, so this is kind of something that I've grown used to over the years. If I decide I'm going to build a car for a class, they either get rid of the class, shut the track, change the rules. So, I don't know. I think, we've discussed this, I think that we should have our own, you know, if the track doesn't want to do it, let's have our own Street Outlaws deal.
Yeah.
Let's try and round up 20 people and no time, lights out, proper lights out racing, right? Maybe not even any prep. Just go down there, race heads up, call out whoever you want to call out. We'll base the order on some previous times or something like that, whatever the dudes have run. I don't know. But
the no prep thing doesn't interest me at all, but we cannot ignore there's a lot of people really.
If you race on the street, right, or on a piece of tarmac that is not a drag strip, then it's not prepped. So,
like I said, it doesn't interest me whatsoever. But
I'm all in the you know, geez, I've forgotten his name now. Killing time. Stevie Fast. I'm all in the Stevie Fast. I don't care if I got a race on 26-inch bicycle tyres. You know what I mean? Like, bring it on.
But we can't ignore the following that No Prep has now, worldwide, I'd say. I don't know about so much in WA, but I guess we throw that out to our listeners at the end of the day. If that's something that we want to see, then that's something that I think we need to take on board and try and organise.
I think that, you know, I'd have to chat to him, but I reckon Eddie would probably be up for something like this. Maybe. I know that the SCM guys would. You know, they'd probably throw a couple of cars in the mix, a couple of their customers' cars, their own cars. There's probably a few people, but I mean, the first thing is, if we're going to do something like this, do we have a set of rules, or is it, you know, run what you brung? You know what I mean? Does the car have to actually, you know, what's defined as a street car? Because if you go off the Street Outlaws self-imposed rules, it's got to have steel roof and quarter panels.
Yeah.
Right? Which means that my BA Falcon's legal for, you know, I could box that up and go to the, what is it, the 405 and, you know, challenge the gate oiler. Who sues the gatekeeper now? Is he still? No, that thing's slow.
I haven't watched it this season. I refuse to watch it.
I don't think that. Anyway, so the Motorplex has cancelled it. So it's kind of thrown a bit of a spanner in the works. I don't know whether we should try and get the car together for the last meeting.
Well, the last meeting's 2 weeks.
There's another one after that. It's Powpalooza.
No, it's gone.
It's still on the calendar.
No.
It's gone.
It's gone.
Meetings get cancelled, rules get changed. You kind of get sick of it after a while. You know what I mean? So let's look at something else. We can pretty much guarantee there's going to be a Racewars event next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yep.
Can we look at getting some rules, concrete rules, right? So that if I show up at scrutineering, I'm not going to get told, no way, right? And maybe look at putting a car together for Racewars.
Yeah, I mean, I need to speak with Ray. In fairness to Ray, at the end of the day I spoke with him was 3 days before the Western Nationals, so he probably wasn't in a position to offer much.
Yeah, but if the event's been cancelled off the calendar, it's been cancelled off the calendar. It's scary times, man. Scary times. And I can sort of understand why the popularity of events like Racewars, out of those customers that I was saying, right, 4 of those customers said to me today that they only worry about that event now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's it. That 12 months goes by. Actually, I tell a lie. I can't remember exactly how many I had in the top 20, but it was more than just those 5. There was more than that I spoke to, because I just wanted to make sure that I had, you know, my facts right about what transmission, etc. they were running. And yeah, they were saying, well, you know, well, as long as we're ready for next year's. And I'm going, you serious? You get car parked up for 12 months? Yeah, that's, you know, that's what I'm going to focus on. I'm going to focus on Racewars. And that says something. Because if you're going to have, you know, I mean, it's not cheap to build a twin turbo, whatever, that's capable of going over 300 kilometres an hour. So you can have that kind of money tied up for one event every 12 months. Then, you know, drag racing really needs to do something.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I don't know. It's up to you. We can keep on chipping away on the. I know that there's a lot of people that got very excited.
Definitely.
They heard that we were doing. They heard that it had moved on the hoist.
It's come down.
It's come down. It looked like it had less dust on it, and the bonnet was off of it. So, and we also we had a sponsor approach us, yeah.
Yeah, we did. CRD Nitrous. They were going to donate some goods to us. So thanks to all the guys at CRD Nitrous.
Yeah, big thank you.
It was quite a generous offer, I must say.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome. And I hope that on some future project we can do something.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, on that note, I think we wrap it up. We've gone hour and a half tonight, so We are now...
Mate, it was a big weekend.
It was a huge
It was a huge weekend for motorsports. It was huge. And for West Australia motorsports, the two biggest events.
All right. We are... excuse me. We are now on Stitcher. So if you listen to podcasts on Stitcher, we are there. Spreaker, that's a new one as well. We're on that one as well. iTunes, of course. Podbean, SoundCloud. Go to our website, www.talkandpower.com.au. Or go to our Facebook page. You can get our podcast from all of those locations. Big thanks to All Fast Torque Converters, Shift Kits Australia, WA Suspensions, Performance Turbos, Monster Torque, Overboost, Mach 1 Air Conditioning, Benzene Detailing, OTR Tyres, Challenge Batteries, Sonax as well. They've come on board too.
Yes.
And CRD Nitrous as well. Those guys.
All right, Nick.
Thank you very much, Simon. You take care. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
See you on the street.
See ya.
Talk and Power stresses all characters and events on this podcast, even those based on real people, are entirely fictional. All celebrity voices are impersonated poorly. We do not encourage street racing or the use of turbochargers.